80% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
The Bechdel test is a very rough set of criteria that you can apply to a movie or a book to get an idea of how gender roles are treated within that story. It's only a rough idea, but it holds that for a movie or book to pass, it needs to pass on 3 criteria.
There must be more than one woman in the story, they must talk to one another, and they must talk to one another about something other than a man.
So, to give you an example from a few recent movies.
The Hobbit had less than 2 female characters, so it fails straight away. Star Trek Into Darkness had 2 female characters, but they never spoke to each other. Also a failure. Skyfall had more than 2 female characters who spoke to each other, but never about anything that wasn't James Bond. Another fail. And Catching Fire had more than 2 female characters who spoke to each other about something that wasn't a man. Finally, a pass.
So, Catching Fire, therefore, is the only one that really passes. It is important to note that this isn't a foolproof test. It just gives you a very vague idea. There are lots of movies and books that pass the test, but are a little bit iffy on the exact subject of gender roles. So, Twilight, for example, contains many one-on-one conversations between named female characters about things that aren't men, but not many people tend to hold that one up as a mold-breaking work of gender equality. It's also been suggested that the Bechdel test can be used for things other than gender roles to get a rough idea of how the movie or book is treating those specific set of characters. So, for example, you could run the test again, except use different ethnicities in place of gender. You could even be as general as just saying non-white. So, does the book contain more than 2 non-white characters who speak to each other about someone that isn't a non-white character? You know, as basic as that, you could even run it through again and replace gender with the LGBT characters and see how it goes. Once again, not a foolproof test, but it is interesting to see what sort of results that you can find. So, it's not perfect, but it can help to give you an insight into the books you're reading and writing.